Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Halton.
Hi, those of you who know me know that I was never very good with rules. I think I still hold the record for being the most suspended firefighter in the history of the Albuquerque Fire Department. So I just want to take 2 seconds of your time for me, actually, for a second. And I wanted to thank some folks. First, I want to thank all of you for coming to FDIC. I try to get around and say thank you to everybody who comes, and we really do mean thank you. You're what makes this show. It's your show. Please look at the call for presentations if you're an instructor. Do your classroom stuff if you got classroom or hot. We'd love to see you. But really, we really want to say thank you to all of you for coming, because this really is your show, and we owe you all a huge debt of gratitude, and thank you for coming. And I'd like to say thanks to the folks that really do all the work. If the fire engineering folks could just stand up for a second. I know this is breaking all the rules. Ryan Jenkins, Rob Maloney, Mary Jane Ditmar, Mike McAvoy, Jack Rogers, Pete Proclio, Eric Schlett and Lyle Hoyt can't be here. They're selling stuff. These are the folks that really, Joe Porter, please stand up. And most importantly, the woman who I adore, love, she really does all the work. I'm really just the clown that they put out here. The magazine's really guided by the person who this guy loved like a daughter, and my best friend, Diane Feldman. Ladies and gentlemen, Diane Feldman. I know you're not allowed to do that kind of stuff. So, where's my friend on the bicycle? Did he go by? I picked a hell of a day to quit doing acid, huh, Doc? I'm sorry, the fellow on the bicycle is Mike Manning, and he's riding across the country for burn victims. So if you go to our website, please support Mike's ride across the country, and if he's coming through your town, it'd be great if you could turn out and help Mike. And Mike's taking care of all the people that we try to take care of, and great foundation, the Phoenix Burn Foundation. Amy Action is going to be here, and if you help Mike out in any way, we'd really appreciate it. There he is. God bless you, Mike. Thank you. I'm not too nervous, huh? Well, good morning and welcome to Day 4 of Fire Engineering's Fire Department Instructors Conference. And yesterday really was an incredible day. Yesterday we were in the presence of a really remarkable family, the Carpluck family. And Howie Carpluck was our 2007 Ray Downey Courage and Valor awardee. We heard Timmy Saddleback, and he gave us words of wisdom with tremendous passion. We paid tribute to the 206 that we lost last year. We opened up the classroom sessions, and I got to tell you, I was so impressed. Everywhere I went, I learned something new, and I was reminded why we come here. We're always looking for new stuff to take back to our departments, new information that can help our jobs become better. And yesterday, I really learned a lot. I'd like to thank our spiritual leader, Chief Brunacini, for spending his birthday here with us yesterday. We really appreciate him. And also everybody else who worked for us yesterday, Father John Carney, our new official chaplain. I think you're going to really enjoy him. I snuck onto the floor earlier, and you're really going to be thrilled. To say it's better than last year is really an understatement. It's just beyond words. It's unimaginable. In other industries, the vendors are considered like predators, but not in our industry. Here, those people are our family. And most of them are volunteer firefighters, and some of them are career folks. So be sure to visit them all down on the floor. It opens up, I think, at 2 o'clock today. And wear sensible shoes. And, if you're from someplace like Prince George County or Phoenix, buy a fire truck or two while you're down there. We're trying to push that stuff. I was going to pump Tommy's book. This is the Random Thoughts. I was going to tell you that this is going to be the hottest selling item in the history of FDIC, but it's already sold out. So this is Tom's book, and in the front row is Tom's family. And this is just like the greatest thing in the world. And I'm I'm just a regular fireman. And I'm just like every guy else in this room. And the only reason I'm here is because of Tommy Brennan and a lot of you. But I'm no different. I'm just a regular fireman. And I loved him like my own dad. So, like Tommy used to say, if you got a minute for me, I'd like to ask you just, why do you come to FDIC year after year? And if I asked you that, you'd say, you know, hey, stupid, it's the training. And that makes sense. Training that equips us to do our jobs, to fight urban, rural, and suburban fires all over America. My wife's going to kill me for doing that, but I feel like a clown. When we're asked what we do, most of us would just say, without hesitation and proudly, we would say, I'm a firefighter. Sadly today, however, I've noticed that in our society, it's becoming more and more popular for people to be apologetic, contrite, and remorseful about our country, about our fundamental beliefs, our heritage, our religious ethics. It's amazing to me. It seems today that you almost have a character flaw if you're not ashamed of something in your past, in your culture, your profession. Not me, but it's become, but I'm seeing it out there. Not firefighters yet. And as I reflected on this trend, it occurred to me that we're not isolated from public opinion. So I got worried. So I thought we need to define for a moment what culture really is. And culture is from a Latin word, and everybody except Doc O'Neill here doesn't know what Latin is. So it comes from the verb colare, which means to cultivate. From a firefighter perspective, the word culture generally refers to our work and our symbolic structures like our firehouses and our fire trucks, our apparatus, the things that give our work significance. The fire service culture incorporates almost every skill in life, from your dress to your food, technical knowledge, and sometimes in our history, it even meant your religion, values, and the exercise of power. Now, this big mass of cultural concepts, we can boil all that down to like 4 things. 4 basic elements that have been passed from generation to generation of firefighters by learning alone. And it's pretty simple. It's values, norms, institutions, and artifacts. That's what makes up the overall culture of the fire department. Values comprise our ideas of what we believe to be important about firefighters, what's desirable in a firefighter. That guides the rest of our culture. Norms are just expectations of behavior, expectations of how we're going to act in various situations. Institutions are things like our response structure, our methodology, our ranks, and artifacts are things like our helmets and our fire trucks and our apparatus. Today I'm going to ignore all that stuff. I'm going to ignore the norms, the institutions, and the artifacts. I want to visit for just a couple of seconds about values. That's what's universal to firefighters. What I want to talk about today is why we must protect, defend, and support our values. And our values have defined throughout history what's really desirable in a firefighter. These values provide security to us, and we cling to those values tenaciously. They define our identity, and we should be. We're threatened when we are confronted by people who profess to be firefighters, but whose behaviors and actions conflict with what we know to be desirable in a firefighter. And these cultural values, they form like a moral armor for us. And if you're inside, that has great meaning. That has tremendous meaning. And it makes me sick when I see this new fad of self-hate and self-loathing try to creep its way into the fire service, into this noble profession. I hear good firefighters say we have to change. Change is normal. Change is expected. It's welcome. I used to be 6'2" and good looking. That ain't happening anymore. Change is life. All our systems require recalibration, but only at the normative or the operative levels. That's behavioral stuff. Firefighters need not feel guilty about the sacrifices that some of the most phenomenal men and women who've ever walked on this planet have made. Firefighters need not feel guilty about being firefighters. Now, some might say we should never lose a firefighter. And I wish this could be true. But a great many firefighters have heroically offered the ultimate sacrifice when they were met with the unexpected or when they refused to lose another life other than their own in the performance of their duties. Our selflessness, our bravery, our honor runs through our veins. Tactics may change. Technology will change. We know this. But who we are, where we come from, and most importantly, the values we uphold, these are eternal. These values are our bedrock at our core. They're our source, our anchor, and our strength as firefighters. We must never permit that intermittent drip of self-doubt and the ever-changing currents and rivers of fashion that flow past us to erode that core or even to introduce a microscopic crack. Our values reflect where we come from. Now, most of us would say Ben Franklin, but Ben's way too modern. Actually, we come from Rome. This Roman Emperor Augustus is credited with instituting the first organized firefighters. They were called vigils, or watchmen. The Latin word for vigil, it means to watch, to be careful or alert, especially for some kind of danger, something that's wrong. Our motto is Semper Vigilante. It describes how we feel about our communities and about our mission. When we stand down for operational retooling this June, we should also stand up for pride. We should stand up with pride for the values which we stand for. We should reaffirm those values and the way in which they have defined our firefighting culture. Firefighters must always respect our values, and we have to live by them. New standards, new codes, new rules, improved supervision will change firefighters' behaviors. Sadly, however, the honor and bravery of firefighters that have our honor and bravery that's been defined by firefighters who have come before us have been defined in these values. They have guided our culture so well, they have to remain a constant source of pride and inspiration. As we leave this room this morning, I want you to walk with your head held higher, because our spirit wasn't forged in tin, it was forged in steel, the toughest steel, the kind that weapons comes from, and it's thousands of years in the making. We stand here today where our forefathers stood, vowing to make a difference, to be better men and women, to be better firefighters. And we may not be able to tell you how to do everything you're going to be called on to do, and we know some are going to fall. We will remember them, and we will recount the events that claim their lives, and we'll do it with reverence. We'll revere their memories. We'll ensure that they're forever memorialized for how they lived, not for how they died. And unfortunately, on the fire ground, even when everything is done right and everybody does their job, not everybody goes home. We know there is no true science to explain what real firefighting is. That's a problem. We understand that the fire ground can be messy, unpredictable, and chaotic. We function on what's called a critical boundary. And on any given day on the fire ground, one small change, even sometimes one too small to notice, can lead to radically different behaviors, sometimes tragically different behaviors. If you think about our fully encapsulated PPE, our air packs, and the fragile environment that we work in, that deadly, toxic environment, we can make some comparisons between us and, believe it or not, to the astronauts. NASA experienced the explosion of the Challenger, and then the disintegration of the Columbia. Now, NASA knows everything there is to know about those accidents, and unfortunately, that is not going to stop the third from happening, and there will be a third. Now, after the Columbia tragedy, a Lockheed employee, a guy named Dean Keenan, wrote an email. I want to read it to you, because what he said is more about values than behaviors. And this is an exact quote. He said, "Every precaution and material science known to man has been applied to the problem of making the thermal protection system work. It is a known risk. The tiles are soft, and every astronaut knows that if the wrong ones are damaged, the shuttle burns up. But the odds against it are pretty good, especially when compared with the rewards of being an astronaut. So they're willing to take the chance. In fact, they fight for it, as a lot of us would. But getting the public to buy into this is going to be a lot tougher, especially a public that expects every risk in their lives to be mitigated to zero. It'll be interesting to see how NASA takes on this challenge, explaining to the public that doing bold things is not about engineering risk to zero. To quote Dan, he said, "It happens. And if we want to restrict ourselves to things where it can happen, we're not going to do anything very interesting." To put this in a firefighting perspective, our focused efforts, our hard work, and our daily drilling will reduce firefighter injuries and deaths. But eliminating those risks is impossible. Doing brave and heroic things involves risk. And every minute of every day, something that never happened before is happening. We will always be putting our welfare, others' welfare rather, ahead of our own. It's who we are. And bad things will happen, very bad things. But we are firefighters, and so we accept the risks because the rewards are so great. We accept the risks because we have decided to live our values. We will celebrate the lives of those who fall because we know that every safety tool, every piece of relevant training was practiced and applied every day. We will celebrate their lives because we know how hard they worked to ensure their own safety and survivability. We will celebrate them because they were one of us. They were firefighters. We are firefighters, and our motto is Semper Vigilante, first to our charges, our citizens, then to ourselves. Every firefighter in this room understands there are things we cannot change. There are things we can change, and we will. And I know you know the difference, and I know you will protect our values. And because I, for one, and I think the rest of you in this room agree with me, I'm proud of where we have been. I'm proud of what we have done, and I'm proud of how we have gotten it done. And I will make no excuses, and I will make no apologies, and I will never disrespect the values and character of the American firefighter. If we need to tighten up some individual behaviors, some normative stuff, I'm right there with you. However, from this day forward, let's all remember that carelessness is not and has never been a part of our culture. Recklessness is not and has never been a part of our culture. Disrespectfulness is not and has never been a part of our culture. And jeopardizing your safety or the safety of others is completely outside of our cultural values. God bless America. God bless firefighters everywhere. Semper Vigilante.